So I've been using Notion for about 6 years now to manage specific parts of my life, including this YouTube channel. I've used a lot of different productivity tools over the years, but one that I always come back to is Notion, and for a number of reasons. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through a typical day in my life and a few different ways that I use Notion to stay organized and productive. And this video is also sponsored by Notion, which is pretty incredible. I've been using their product for many years now, and I genuinely think it is an amazing piece of software. Let's dive into it. So I usually wake up around 6 or 7 a.m. depending on the day. I was going to sleep in a bit today, but my cats had other plans and decided to wake me up for their usual early morning meal. Now, I usually don't have breakfast first thing, but I kind of skipped dinner yesterday and woke up super hungry, so we're starting with breakfast today. So I've always been a pretty skinny guy and have generally struggled to gain weight, but for the past month or so, I've been trying to take bulking up and fitness in general a bit more seriously. And to make sure that I don't fall off my nutrition or fitness plan, I've actually created a page in Notion to list out all the main foods and ingredients that I'm eating right now. On top of that, I had Notion's AI agent create a database of recipes using the specific ingredients that I've established and the cooking appliances I have access to. I made sure it also included prep time, calories, and macros, and formatted each recipe so it's super easy to follow along while I'm cooking. Preparing food is one of those things that takes up so much time and mental energy, especially if you're having to decide what to eat multiple times a day. So systemizing the process in whatever way we can using something like Notion is a no-brainer in my opinion. But even if you don't want to create a whole database of recipes, one of my favorite ways to use AI in my daily life is to just tell it my available ingredients and ask it to give me an elite Michelin star quality recipe using what I have. Assuming all goes well, which surprisingly it usually does, I can have Notion AI save that recipe to my larger database for me to come back to later. All right, now it's time to get some real work done. As a little pre-deep work session ritual, I like to make some kind of beverage. Usually this is either coffee or tea. Today we're going with matcha, but I like having a beverage as I start work. Yes, for the obvious caffeine benefits, but also because it's kind of a fun ritual that makes getting started with work a little more enjoyable and also signals to my brain that it's time to get some stuff done.
Not bad, decent.
Now, when it comes to managing my work, this is where Notion really shines. In terms of productivity tools and systems, I always recommend people take the simplest possible approach that fits the needs of their life. This means only adding levels of complexity when it provides a clear and unique benefit. The great thing about Notion is that it's super customizable, so you can scale up and down the complexity based on the needs of your work or your personal life. Pretty much every video that I have on my channel has been planned out entirely using Notion, and it really just feels like the most natural tool for running a YouTube channel or doing any type of work that involves regular content creation. I like to create these Kanban style boards where all my projects are organized by video status corresponding with the relevant step in the production process. You can also integrate your databases with Notion Calendar, and this is super helpful for keeping track of my upload schedule. You can also create templates to just streamline the entire video production process. And if I'm looking for inspiration for things to add to a particular video, I can ask Notion AI to search through my knowledge database of notes I've taken and pick out any relevant ideas. But I'll talk more about that in a bit. But it's not just for content creators or YouTubers that Notion is useful. Really, any type of professional or business related work, especially those that involve more complex projects, collaborating with team members or managing different moving parts, Notion can really shine there as well. I really wish I could use Notion at my corporate job because it would have fit the type of work perfectly, which involves a lot of kind of tracking deadlines, managing correspondence, collaborating with team members, etc. But no, unfortunately, Like a lot of corporate workplaces out there, I imagine they are sort of stuck in the Stone Ages using clunky Microsoft applications. So as far as meetings or calls, I do my best to schedule them for later in the day when possible, because I prefer to start the day with my more difficult, intensive, deep work, and then reserve meetings for when my energy kind of dips a little bit. But today I have a meeting with Ali Abdaal's general manager, Angus, and Ali's former head of YouTube, Tintin. And normally when on calls or meetings, it can be a bit of a challenge to pay full attention and actively engage with the people on the meeting, while also making sure that I take notes so I can actually remember all the points that were discussed. Thankfully, Notion has this new built-in feature where its AI transcribes the meeting and takes notes for you, so it can summarize everything that was said and highlight any key action points that came out of it. This is something I've been doing for every call I'm on, whether it's work related, chatting with friends, or catching up with my sister. And it's really nice because now I have this kind of full log of everything that I've ever talked about and discussed with people on meetings that I can go back to and review at any point. I didn't even realize how useful this feature was until I started using it, but as you can see, Notion has really made a huge leap forward over the past couple years with things like adding Notion Calendar and Mail offline mode, which is a complete game changer and used to be one of the only things that I really didn't like about Notion, not having an offline mode, but now it thankfully does. But the biggest upgrade recently has really just been Notion's new AI agent. I've used pretty much all the big AI tools out there, and some can definitely be helpful in limited contexts, but they aren't going to actually get the work done for you, and many of them just end up becoming this kind of more advanced Google search. But as you've seen throughout the video, Notion's AI agent is completely different because it's actually integrated with your entire Notion workspace. It can save time by automating repetitive tasks and quickly navigate and reference all the pages in your Notion workspace, so you don't have to constantly upload new files to give it context like you would with other tools like ChatGPT. And in the past, if you've been overwhelmed by the potential complexity of Notion when it comes to building databases and pages, it's super simple now because you can just tell the AI what you want and it'll actually use all the building blocks to customize your Notion to fit your needs. Click the link in the description to get started with Notion's AI agent today. So after work, I like to transition into the evening with some form of exercise. Most of the time that's weightlifting, but I've also been trying to get into running as well. We'll see how that goes. And while I do use specific apps to track my nutrition, running distance, and weightlifting workouts, I found that I need some place to summarize everything and see if at a high level I'm actually hitting my targets each week. So I've asked Notion's agent to create a simple database to track a few key metrics each week, including sets per major muscle group for weightlifting, average calories each day, average protein each day, total distance ran for the week, and average hours spent sleeping each day. For something like fitness, where significant progress doesn't happen in a single day, but rather through showing up and doing the right things week after week, I found that having a high level overview like this can be really useful for spotting those long-term trends. gosh, I just put the sauce, like the juices from this meat, put it on here. My gosh, so good. I gotta make this more often. What's that? I literally just asked AI for this recipe too. I swear, I don't know. I might be a chef, guys. I might be Michelin level. No, not really. It's just so easy to do this. You just get like a big chunk of chuck roast, put it in the thing, let it cook for a while, and it comes out tasting so good. Like, I don't know why people eat other stuff, like other junk food and things like this. It took me like 20 minutes to make. And it's like nutritious. And it tastes like really good. I'm bullish on cooking at home. I think it's like one of the best things for saving money, for your health, but also just like enjoyment of life. So after dinner, if I'm not spending the evening with my girlfriend or family, I like to take the time to just chill, read books, listen to podcasts, or watch YouTube videos. I think consuming content for entertainment or relaxation purposes is perfectly fine as long as it's not, interfering with more important things in your life. But even then, I'm still pretty intentional about it. Content can come in many forms, whether it's books, podcasts, YouTube videos, movies, articles, blogs, Instagram posts, TikTok videos, and it can really be a double-edged sword. Consuming content, especially on social media, can become dangerous if you end up spending hours and hours every single day just mindlessly watching random things that the algorithm chooses to feed you rather than things that you've actively chosen to consume. So I like to be way more intentional about the type of content that I consume and generally just avoid algorithms altogether. And this goes for both entertainment and educational content. When it comes to educational content, I try to actively pick a particular problem in either my personal or professional life, and then intentionally search for content, whether it's books, videos, podcasts, that address that specific area. So I approach it a bit more like, I guess, a researcher would, trying to learn something specific and finding the piece of content that will help me do that, rather than just kind of mindlessly consuming things to kill time. But I'll also pick out a few specific creators or authors to tune into regularly who I trust and know that if I watch or read their stuff, that I'll walk away with my life being just a little bit better in some way. So I've used Notion to help aid me in this process of being more intentional with the type of content I consume by creating a learning log. So basically, I'll pick out a book, YouTube video, podcast, etc., and create a new page in the database where I'll take notes on my thoughts, reactions, or insights that I've gained from that piece of content. But overall, this process has not only helped me better retain the information that I learn, because I'm kind of actively going through and documenting everything into this Notion database, but it's also just really cool to see all the pieces of content that you've consumed in one place, because in today's era, the type of content that you consume plays a big role in shaping who you are as a person and just your general view of the world. But yeah, that's a typical day in my life using Notion to organize things. If you enjoyed the video and you want to see more sort of lifestyle content like this, definitely let me know in the comments. And you can click here to watch another video of mine. See you in the next one.